parents, unborn babies exposed to pesticides in the womb are at risk of lower intelligence later in life. That's according to 3 studies published this week.
Agriculture. Agriculture has been the basis of building all the most advanced civilizations. Civilizations that even today astound us in their scale and intricacy. All made possible by agriculture, the paramount factor in the development of civilization. But a resounding issue has stayed consistent in our agricultural history. Noted in every great civilization's history as a threat. Pests. Pests have been an ongoing threat to agricultural society, one that today can be easily dealt with by the wonders of modern technology. However, this has brought a new threat to our agricultural world: ourselves. With the continued use of chemical relievers, our society has poisoned its own food and the very soil itself with these chemicals. Since then, scientists and farmers have been developing methods by which to fight pests without sacrificing the well-being of humans, or more importantly, the environment at large. Born from these efforts, IPM, Integrated Pest Management, was formed, a way to control pests with the goal of minimizing pesticides and environmental destruction. The basics of this new strategy involve researching and monitoring of pests and targeting methods to specific pest life cycles, all on a farm-to-farm basis. However, there is a 6-step plan by which IPM strategies apply. First, catching and identifying what type of pests there are. Second, to evaluate the weather condition and the natural life cycles of the pests associated with it. Next, plan according to the thresholds present in the circumstances of the farm, aka know to what extent you can take certain measures. Next, ensure a strict record is kept on the effects of the strategies. Inspect and continue to monitor the effectiveness of used strategies. These are the basics and core steps by which IPM follows.
Every farm varies their techniques of managing pests based on the different resources they have. There are 3 categories of pest management: biological control, physical control, and chemical control. First of all, biological control consists of using beneficial insects to control a specific pest that has taken over a given area. This technique controls pests naturally because of the use of the food chain and predator and prey cycles. When farmers use this method, they will bring in a natural predator or parasite to control the pest. This includes actually purchasing and spreading the control organisms in fields. Also, some farmers build homes for these predators so that they are attracted to the area naturally. For example, aphids, which are very common insects that damage plants and leave them with curled, yellow leaves, stunted or dead shoots, and poor plant growth in general, are prey to ladybugs. Certain farmers that utilize biocontrol techniques will purchase ladybugs and foster homes for them in their farms to rid of the harmful aphids that are ruining their crops. Next up, physical control prevents pests from entering an area. This literally means a physical barrier, like a trap, tilling, or screen. For example, a screen in a greenhouse keeps harmful pests away from the plants. Physical boundaries protect crops from being damaged in the first place. Sometimes, farmers even use vacuums to vacuum up any damaging pests in the area, which is classified as physical control. The last resort of farmers that want to protect the environment is chemical control. Chemical control is the use of synthetic chemicals like attractants and repellents to rid of pests in the area. This is the last resort because of the environmental harm it can do to the surrounding environment on the farm. Some of chemical control can be natural, but most of the time, chemical control includes pesticides like DDT, glyphosate, atrazine, insecticides, herbicides, and more. But chemical control can look as easy as when people put vinegar and dish soap in a container to trap fruit flies in the kitchen.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna make it through this winter. Oh my God! What'd you do?
I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. Are you waiting to farmers?
Indeed, we are.
Can we have a few minutes of your time? We have a couple questions we'd like to ask.
You got 2 minutes. I need to go milk my cows.
We would like to know what you think about pests.
That horrible little creature made a lot of problems for the farmers, alright? Got it?
So you don't like pests very much? How do you deal with all those pests trying to ruin your harvest?
It's a constant battle. It's a constant battle that takes a lot of time and a lot of work and a lot of time to control stuff.
So what methods do you use to help this problem?
We use two main methods that control the population. The first is crop rotation. The second is
Can you tell us about what methods those are?
Of course, the first, which is crop rotation, is a method where you can move around where you plant your crop, where you plant certain crops. Pests are very specific on where they live and what crops they eat. They will only grow in certain crops and crop families. They will lay eggs in the soil, so when they hatch, they have the food source they need. We can use this against them, as they need their food source to stay in one place, so that they can lay their eggs near their food source.
Wow, that seems like a pretty effective way to reduce pests in your plants. How does intercropping reduce the amount of pests in your plants?
Intercropping is when certain plants that have push and pull effects are placed in between crops. There are two different plants that are used in intercropping. The first is the push plant, which emits chemicals that stop moving.
Sir, stay on the ground!
That deter pests and make them move away. The second plant is the pull plant, which emits chemicals that attract pests. The push plants move pests away from the middle of the crops, and the pull plants attract them to the outside of the rows. The two attractions make them go to the outside of the crops and has them stay in designated areas so they do not affect the crops. These pull plants can also naturally attract pest predators into the area.
That is very complex and a great method to fix these problems with pests.
Yeah, well, not magic, you know. It's my harvest staying healthy. But sorry, we gotta get back to work.
Thank you so much for your time. So what really is the point to all this? You're probably wondering why this is important. There are obviously pros and cons to everything in life, and that's where I come in. The good thing is that with integrated pest management, there are many more pros than cons, but we have to think about one thing. What plays a bigger factor in affecting our environment? Are the drawbacks of all this so extreme the benefits don't matter, or are the drawbacks minor enough where the benefits outweigh them? I'll start with the cons first because there are only a few. IPM can be more time-consuming and costly than just crop dusting pesticides, which plays into why the process is a very complex and slow one, but it does pay off in the long run. But also this process can be affected by weather conditions, and you must hire a reliable scout to take a look at your farm. Also, to be able to do this procedure correctly, it takes time to research specific pests and figure out where and how you are going to plant numerous species of crops, because every farm is different. But there is a bright side to this. Even though the process may be long and complex, there are numerous benefits that include IPM reduces death and mutation of non-target species, reduces effects on human consumers of produce. Many pesticides cause cancer, and by using IPM, you eliminate this threat to humans and other animals, like frogs and eagles, and even bee colonies. Not only is IPM there to help animals, but also humans. It reduces contamination of surface and groundwater by agricultural runoff with pesticides. It decreases chemical pesticides on crops. It is sustainable, targeted, and minimizes loss of pollinators. Overall, IPM is the best method to help protect your crops and your farms from pesticides. So choose IPM.